Burke shows us that just because it seems strong doesn't mean it always is, and sometimes blind countering and strategy works in a strategy game. Now, just as uncool as that was, we're going to watch something that's really cool. We're going to use version 1.91. So, oh no, how can I do this? How can I be so unformal? Why? Oh no, we have to go to regular little war game. And we have to go to play. Did you see this? You see this? This looks nice, doesn't it? Oh man. Wait until the graphic in the back loads. It's not going to because I'm hitting play, but it looks so much nicer than I did. Okay. Okay. Come on. Come on. Come on, load. Load faster. Load. Come on. This next game is between two guests who are awesome. Although I don't know what happened to the one guest. I don't know why he doesn't have an account yet, to be honest with you. He's actually terrifying. Connect. Once it's connect, we full screen. Oh, look. It looks all professional like. Now we go to load replay. And we're going to go to replays. And come on, come on. This is actually really interesting. Just because wolves are in the game doesn't mean your only build has to be with wolves. You can also use wolves as part of an all-in. And this was actually the smartest all-in I had ever seen. Ever. Like, I've seen a lot of all-ins. I've played a lot of games. I've played like 300-something games. I've seen a lot of tournament VODs. I've seen a lot of weeklies, even though I'm never in them. I've seen a lot of them. And just watch this. We're going to guess 322. We're going to call him Genius. Because that's, yeah, okay. And we're going to call this guy me. Yeah. So it's Genius versus me in the bottom right. I was only a guest because I was trying to figure something out with wolves. I didn't want to get on as a Tano Circus and then fail with wolves. So this is like the 4th or 5th game that I've done this. And I felt pretty confident. Before the game, Genius asked me to go ahead and go castle first on this map because he wanted to see if he could use an all-in to break it. I said, sure. That sounds reasonable. I mean, it sounds pretty good. And look at this. Genius is doing a variant of the old, relatively old castle catapult break. This is actually really cool. I'm trying to speed it up faster, but it's not doing it. Now, this is actually really cool. So watch this. Because of the size of the map, he knows that I'm going for castle expand due to how, no, 6 expand. Well, it's not 6 expand anymore, but in early expand due to how early he managed to get this guy over here. And if you look at his vision, he has seen everything. He knows all. There is no hidden tech. He sees the castle. He knows that there's nothing else that can actually be out at around this time. And so he has a catapult workshop that is now going to be finishing. Meanwhile, as I said, this is not completely off the cuff. I've been doing this for a little while, so now that I have my double castle production, I build up a house, and then pretty shortly we're going to see wolves' dens just go like 1, 2, 3 of them, and it will be good. Now notice back here that this worker is getting scouting information and sees this workshop. So I'm thinking at this point, oh, he's just going for the castles, like the catapults. That's perfect because I'm going for wolves. And this is version 1.91, remember. So wolves' dens don't cost 200 gold, they cost 125. Now that means that 2 of the version 1.9 wolves' dens are actually worth more than 3 of the version 1.91 wolves' dens. Another thing to think about is that each wolf cost 40 gold instead of 50. So while this worker is doing all the harassment he can, I'm like, huh, I see a workshop and a wolf's den? Clearly he doesn't have a castle, so this is some kind of all-in or a really heavy pressure build. But I'm not too worried about it because I had faced something, maybe not this exact thing, but something very similar. So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna be Some more wolves dance. Now look at this. He moves out. He's going to get a couple of wolves, and then he's going to push out. Now note the nature of this. This is something that really excites me because I have not seen a lot of all-ins in Little War Game. I mean, a lot of variety. There are 2 Raxes versus castles. That's an all-in. There are variants, proxies, super aggressive proxy barracks, that's an all-in, super aggressive proxy catapults, but a lot of those have either been figured out, or if you lose, it's mostly the fault of your own scouting. But this is an attack that I had seen coming, and look, the wolves are coming down, there's the second catapult. Now look at this. Genius brings 2 workers with him so that he can get the surround and help fight when he has the catapult. So this catapult is not just coming across the map by itself. Because I'm going for a castle build, and I went specifically for wolves instead of riflemen, if I had gone for riflemen, the wolves and the workers would have eaten them up, and the catapults would have forced me to micro, so I would have gotten little to no damage done. If I had gone for purely soldiers, I might have been able to win this, but then he would have been free to retreat anytime that he wanted to and camp at the back with towers and catapults, which is a very tough force to break. Now look at the intelligent positioning here. The catapults are able to do damage to these workers. And what are the purpose of these 3 workers? Well, remember that in version 1.9, catapults can now be repaired by workers. So if his catapults take excess damage, he can just go ahead, right-click them, and heal them. It's pretty good. They can be repaired in the same manner of buildings, like was said on Fast Patch. Another thing to consider is that what can workers do that would actually be really, really incredibly annoying? How about reducing the surface area for me to get out of my base? If the guest here manages to go ahead and block off this area or a sizable portion of it, look at this. He camps right here with units and knows that these catapults are going to get value off of shooting on this house and in this base without him having to be any more aggressive or deal with the mass workers. This number of wolves, while numerically superior, has no chance of breaking through this and catapults, just because this house is being built here and no expand is being grabbed. Time to drink the water that the awesome family gave me. No castle is being grabbed. Look, the catapults can see that there's damage being done to this front line, so they send in more units. These workers are building this watchtower and are timed just in case I'm able to break this front of hold right here and provide a nice solid defensive area. It's actually a fantastic choice against these wolves because wolves only do a base of 4 damage and watchtowers have 1 armor. So these wolves are only doing 75% of their damage, and with 450 health, I'll have to hit this watchtower 150 times with wolf attacks in order to get rid of it. This watchtower is also perfectly positioned in such a way that it's able to cover these catapults, and if it's not, these workers can go over and heal the catapults while they drag themselves back into range. Now that those units are gone, and this counterattack up here is going to be micro-intensive, but ultimately ineffectual, as Genius continues to rally down units. Look at this. There's no easy way to get in. There isn't. I can't get through because this house has not been fully built, so Genius, if he senses a break, can cancel it at any time. This barracks has not been fully built, so he can break it and cancel it at any time that he feels. In the meantime, if we go over here, the advantage is with me by 1,000 gold in terms of units, but those units are suffering from the inability to be positionally advantageous. Oh man, Genius, you are so slick. Look at the way the catapult is staying here and getting freed shots over on this line and anything I build over here with the range that's granted to him by this house. Look how this perfect wall, if it is held up and not stopped by a catapult and a tower and 3 to 4 repairing workers, just look at all of the ability of this to be, look, he cancels it and he goes in. No problems. Yep. And now he can just keep me on one base, grab his own expansions. He can even go for a break if he wants to. Like I said, there's micro shenanigans up here that ultimately amount to nothing. Yep. See him? Nothing. Man, this is just really, really good. Meanwhile, these wolves, like I said, they're not going to be able to get through these houses, this barracks that's now making soldiers. That's the final nail in the coffin. This catapult with free damage, this watchtower with free damage, and there's no way to get around this castle right here. This little thing that is normally the great savior and defender of this one base into fast expansion build has no way of being useful. And now we're looking at equal supply, but if we look at units, it's looking pretty good for Genius. 4 catapults is only overkill in the sense that nothing survives 4 catapult shots. He has some wolves in case I break through, but he's mainly just keeping soldiers there. And with this house right here in the catapult that I can't reach, Genius can camp this mineral line forever. I'm effectively down on 1 base. Oh man, Genius. You are so good. Look how the catapults take advantage of King Sejong Station's layout and kill this castle. And now there's nowhere that I can go in order to mine. Man, Genius is just so good at this game. Oh, man. Alright, guys. I hope you got a sense of what you can do with wolves and just how cool they are, how cool version 1.9 and version 1.91 are. Until next time, I'll see you out in a little war game. It's bigger than you've ever imagined.